Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Thomas and I discuss my near-death experience, the things I learned, and the things I think you should know. So today I was inspired to talk about the good and evil that I've dealt with since my near-death experience. So I have my notes, I have my tea, so let's begin. So since my near-death experience, I've had to come to terms with good and evil in my life. I was in crisis after my near-death experience and in a desperate search to get in touch with my angels, especially with Sarah. And this, combined with what I was shown during my near-death experience, triggered a spiritual and psychic awakening. I came across things like psychic phenomenon, remote viewing, and tarot, as well as synchronicities and signs that the universe gives us. I had to come to terms with the fact that I was a changed man after my near-death experience, and that I suddenly seemed to have psychic abilities. I was shown that we are all psychic, just most of us choose not to open ourselves up to the universe in such an intimate, though meaningful way. Not only was I dealing with a completely different outlook on my life since my near-death experience, I was really missing my angel Sarah. I had to find a way to communicate with her, but I wasn't prepared for what that meant. It meant that I had to be open to the evil in this world as well as the good, and had to take another hero's journey, so to speak, in a bid to find my love. I had to face the good and evil that already existed within me, and that which still wanted to make itself known. Because of my near-death experience and what I was shown, I had sympathy for the devil, so to speak. But I saw that I had already, long ago, made my decision between the light and the dark, and that moral decision, to always follow the good, is what led me back to the light. So I made some notes, so let's go ahead and begin. Trying to open myself up to my angels without guidance and teaching let evil into my world. I didn't have training in Kabbalah, though I was trying to teach myself. I soon learned that Kabbalah isn't really something you can teach yourself, but what I learned was enough for me to know that I was on the right path. I was not only dealing with an NDE, but I was just getting out of an abusive relationship and was also dealing with the rare side effect of having to take prednisone to fight the rejection of my bone marrow transplant. It was like being kicked while I was down, and that taught me an important lesson about good and evil. Evil has to be invited into your life while the good is always there. What I mean by that is that evil comes to us when we're at our worst. I learned that it is our thoughts, not so much what we do, that invites evil into our world. Our thoughts reflect our actions, and our actions are thoughts. So as long as we stay positive, no evil can enter our world. As well as Kabbalah, I came across Kundalini Yoga and learned to start working with my chakras, including my auric and electromagnetic field, which is our 8th chakra. This chakra is a combination of the strength of our other chakras and is what protects us from evil entering our world. With a weakened electromagnetic field as a result of serious health issues and severe depression, I had to learn to strengthen my chakras in order to defend myself from evil or dark energies wishing to enter my life. And this starts with thought, and I had to do a lot of inner work when I started working with my chakras. And that's really where the healing started. I also came across remote viewing in my search for ways to communicate with the woman that I loved, my angel Sarah. I am so thankful that I came across this skill because it opened my world to psychic communication, and indeed it is not really a psychic skill. It is something that anyone can do, though what I was shown is that we are all psychic. I am thankful for this skill, though. At first it opened my world up to a lot of evil. After my first few remote viewing sessions, I would have visions of beings coming to kill me, and once I was caught up in what I can only describe as a time loop. I would be stuck in repeating the same thoughts and actions with the same thing happening to me time and time again. I really had to keep my cool, but it taught me that I am definitely on the side of good and that God is always there for us. Another way in which evil entered my world, and a lot of people probably don't want to hear this, was through the Bible. After my near-death experience, the Bible was a different book altogether. I saw that man always has an axe to grind and that the Bible was written by man. This not only changed my outlook, but when I would read the Bible for inspiration, I would get dire warnings about how I was sinning and evil being in myself. This only added to the steroid psychosis I was already dealing with, and went against what I was shown during my near-death experience, which was that I was an innocent being and an infinite being, and that I had already chosen good. God told me in my near-death experience through the Archangel Gabriel that I could do no wrong. As long as I followed my moral compass, I could do no wrong. Indeed, there was no wrong or right, just consequences. And I still study the Bible, and I don't want people to think that because I do tarot, I don't study the Bible. I get comments on that all the time. It just kind of makes me laugh. So that brings me to my next point, and that was since my near-death experience, I would very clearly read other people's intentions. While I now knew, thanks to my near-death experience, that people are always doing the best they can given their situations, I could see the negative intentions of people and how man always has an axe to grind. The boundaries between good and evil were now perfectly clear in man's intentions, and yet the line was also blurred at the same time. I had to let go of all the negative interpersonal relationships in my life, which was pretty much all of them. I was now an even more emotional, intuitive, and sensitive being, thanks to my near-death experience, and I couldn't handle the negativity of my interpersonal relationships. This included almost all my relationships, really. Pretty much everyone has an axe to grind. So I had to isolate myself in an attempt to protect myself because I hadn't yet learned how to protect myself from negative energies. But I was able to find my angels. I saw that they were always with me and that I could already communicate with them. I saw that I could communicate with Sarah in the same way I had during my near-death experience, which was through thought. I was also opened up to the phenomenon of synchronicities. My angels were communicating through small miracles, signs, and synchronicities. So for example, there was one time when I wasn't feeling well, and I've talked about this in my other videos, that my angels kind of scared me, while also sending me a clear message, what I would call through a miracle. You might call it magic, letting me know that they were, and indeed always are, with me. I woke up with my shirt drenched from night sweats. I took off the beanie I had been sleeping in, and peeled off my soaking wet shirt and threw them on the bed while I went to take a shower. When I got back, the teddy bear I had recently been given by a nurse while in the hospital was sitting on my neatly folded shirt and was wearing my beanie. I mean, this just blew my mind. And this was when the messages from the angel stopped scaring me and really started fascinating me. And then while researching synchronicities, I came across the I Ching and what Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, said about the I Ching. And after having disregarded tarot after coming across it shortly after my near-death experience, I was suddenly opened up to the realization that the I Ching was basically tarot, and that I could use tarot in order to find synchronicities and to communicate with my angels. And I use it for inspiration. I would just like, again, to point out that I still read the Bible and that the tarot cards and angel cards give me inspiration, and I've found no evil in them. In fact, I often have, again, what I would call small miracles in which my angels let me know that they are with me. For example, one day after putting all my cards away, I was later standing here in front of the window, and I looked down underneath the Christmas tree, and there was a 5-card spread of my animal oracle cards. And some people might call that evil, but I know it's just my angels communicating with me. And it was just another way in which my angels wake me up to the fact that they are always with me. Finally, I would just like to point out that I am a changed man from my near-death experience, and opening myself up spiritually and psychically since my near-death experience has led to some truly inspiring moments of awakening. And though I had to learn to protect myself from dark energies and evil entities wishing to make themselves known in my life, I wouldn't change it for the world. I am a more enlightened, awakened being. I also have found comfort in the fact that I can communicate with my angels using several different methods, and that they are always communicating with me. So thanks for watching. I would just like to point out that you are the reason I came back from my near-death experience to share what I had been shown and what I have learned. So you truly are a gift. Thanks for watching. Much love and peace. Namaste.